Welcome to a new episode of the Retailtalker podcast. My name is Wolfgang Krogman. I am your host for today, and please welcome my today's guest, Cenk Ikiz.
This is a unique concept. When we walked around, you saw it. I mean, we are one of a kind in Europe right now, and actually in the world as well, that where we make the production and sales in the same spot, like an open kitchen restaurant. I have to do a passion-driven business, and I had to do it my own, independently. And that was the driving urge at that time.
100% transparent production, 100% natural cosmetics. Berlin-based natural cosmetic brand Brewing Beauty Company has opened its first manufactured store and online shop just a couple of days before the 2020 lockdown. The 160 square meter store is located in the trendy shopping district around Hackescher Markt in Berlin Mitte and focuses on 100% transparent production. What does that mean? All cosmetic products are produced in the shop itself behind glass panels, visible for all customers. The founders of Brewing Beauty Company are Cenk and his wife Serap Ikiz. Cenk believes that this innovative cosmetic concept fits perfectly into a time when the beauty industry is being pushed towards more transparency, authenticity, and purity in its products and services. And he is right. Brewing Beauty is the only independent high street beauty brand that produces small batches of products with a personalized, seasonal and nutritional approach in its own store. In this podcast episode, Cenk explained in detail his journey from a top-employed executive and partner at Accenture in New York to the founder and owner of a small manufacturer in Berlin Mitte. He is convinced that the products that he and his wife produce and sell have the potential to inspire the German and later perhaps also customers in other metropolitan areas of the world. We sat in his beautiful store in Mullachstraße, surrounded by plants, 100% natural products, and a trendy interior. So, let's go. Listen to my first English podcast episode and enjoy it. At least, I hope so.
Good morning, Cenk.
Good morning.
So we are sitting in your beautiful store here in Berlin Mitte, and actually it is the first time for me to do a podcast in English, and I think for you as well.
Well, podcast ever, actually. This is my first podcast.
Yeah, great,
Never
wonderful.
done it before.
Okay, so as you know, we have listeners, and so give them a little bit of a background, who you are and what you have done so far.
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for the opportunity. It's another learning experience for me, and hopefully, this will be a successful podcast for you to publish.
Yeah.
Right?
I hope to. Yes.
So basically, my name is Cenk Ikiz, and I was born and raised until the end of high school in Istanbul, Turkey. So I'm a Turkish man by birth. And then I went to United States for higher education, for college degree. I studied business there, and then after I graduated, at one moment I was planning to come back to Istanbul and continue my career there, but then I changed my mind. I said, well, what? Let me try here a couple of years, and then after that I'll go back with an experience. That couple of years became 25 years.
Okay.
So basically, I stayed there for a long time. I enjoyed, and mainly, I went to Ohio State, the Fisher's College, Business College of Ohio State, and then moved to New York City and started working with back then it was Arthur Andersen Consulting. Basically, I started as an analyst there in New York City, and then continue my journey, my career over there. I became a partner actually in New York City. So I was one of the New York City partners. At that time, I think I was the first Turkish man becoming a partner. The Turkish man born in Turkey becoming a partner. There were some other Turkish people. They were born in the States. Eventually, at one point, there was another opportunity that came from Istanbul, Turkey. The company was trying to open a new branch. Actually, they had a branch in Istanbul, but they were trying to open up a digital department. And at that time, digital space was, becoming more popular. And they were also looking for a new lead for a management consulting. So they offered me a good opportunity with my wife and my family. We said at that time I was married and with 2 kids. He said this could be a good time for us to try our birth country, I guess, to see how it is going to work out there. But there was something missing towards the end. At the beginning, it wasn't. I didn't feel this urge. I didn't feel this differently. But later on, as I grew up, I guess my mentality changed. I was become wiser, and I guess my expectations were changing around the environment and the life and people that I connect with. I felt like something else missing because I was helping other businesses to make a difference. So they were trying to make difference for people's lives. But I wasn't touching the people because I was a consultant. I wasn't touching the end people, end users, and customers myself. I was always through the middleman, another company. I was helping them with their projects, their new innovations, mainly the innovations area that I was focusing on. Want to touch it myself and do it myself, and that was the urge that I had. I was trying to say to myself, I have to do a passion-driven business, and I have to do it my own, independently, and that was the driving urge at that time.
And what I mean, you said shortly before, 3 years before, you moved from New York City to Istanbul. And was Istanbul the kind of a initial rethinking of what you're doing, or would you have done thinking the same when you stayed?
Exactly. It will have been happening. It was already seeded in me, right? I was already thinking this way, even in New York. I felt like I wasn't connected enough. I wasn't connected to the world and the environment, to people. Yes, I was helping it, but I was always behind the scenes, and I wanted to be able to, in the front, be able to help directly and do something that's going to make a change, do something that's going to make a difference in people's lives, and in a good way, and also the environment. And that was something that started growing in me in New York, and then eventually obviously it became much bigger in Istanbul.
And was there a special let's say something that happened in your life that you suddenly said, well, now it is time to do something different?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of aspects of it, right? So in Istanbul, being honest with you, it was a little bit different than what I expected. I wasn't satisfied with the results. I wasn't performing as good as I was performing in New York. I worked with this American company for a long time, over 20 years, and I was very happy with the work that I was doing, although I had these other desires. But in Istanbul, I wasn't satisfied with my work. So that is probably one of the reasons that I said, it's about time. Why not now? Financially, I was free. So I said, this will be a good time. And at that time, interestingly, at the same time, something else was happening, and I started growing beard. There was a trend at that time. There are a lot of people in 2015, 2016, even before it started. But I said, you know what? I'm going to try this. Before that, I was always a clean-shaved guy because I was a consultant. I was going everywhere. And back in those days, it wasn't well appreciated. Suit and ties. No beard. Very clean. But towards in 2015, 2016, I started growing the beard. And It was unsuccessful, unfortunately, since I never done before. It was the first time I was trying to grow a beard. It was very unsuccessful because it was itchy. It was giving me a lot of headaches, and I also had some skin problems myself. I had an eczema myself. It became a nightmare. But I insisted I'm gonna have a beard and a long beard, and eventually I was shopping around. I couldn't find the products that I was happy with. And then I became very familiar with the cosmetics. I mean, I was always using cosmetics in a way that, like a typical cosmetics, like shampoos and maybe hand creams, the face creams, but I wasn't into it as much as a man. But then with that introduction to the cosmetic world, I ended up knowing about the essential oils, the natural aspects of that stuff. And then I was very interested, actually, to find out good products and then be able to, have a healthy beard and healthy skin. Since I couldn't find it at that time, ideas started popping up with me and saying, what, maybe this is an area that I can spend a little bit more time. And I realized that the cosmetic industry was 90-95% female and then the 5% or 10% male. I said, maybe this is an area that I can make a difference, because it's a crazy world. I mean, getting into a cosmetic competition, you must be out of your mind. I mean, I'm not joking. It's a huge competition. It's one of the most competitive areas.
Yeah, I can imagine. And probably you have used a bit of the stuff from your wife, I guess, because in the female world there is much more and a broader variety.
Exactly. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because she's a industrial designer by education, and she was a fashion designer in New York City, a successful one as well. And she has a good taste, and she always helped me out with the, picking up the right material for our designs and everything else, and obviously her ability around the cosmetics was much better than I was, right? So she was actually consulting me in also certain areas. So anyways, at that time, since I couldn't find the right products on the street level, on the internet it was available, but on the street level it was always the high-end brands or the commercial products, but they weren't like a natural products, and they weren't as good as I wanted to have, and they were on internet. But on internet you cannot test them, right? So that was, I said, maybe this is the area that is missing. The men's section is missing a lot. There is not much for focus. It was growing, but it's not there. And then also being able to access to the good products is not available on the street level. So putting those together, this is how I started investigating this, and further. We traveled around with my wife, and at that time I found a couple of investors that could actually join my journey, and we started traveling around. During this travel, initially we started as a man care, the man skin care, and from beard to hair and everything else. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a difference. But one thing, as a consultant, I knew that it always changes on the way. So nothing that you start stays as it is throughout the journey. And I knew that from the beginning. Even I told my partners, the investors at that time, don't expect this to be the same 2 years or 3 years from now. It's gonna change because we are learning.
Yeah, is that really the right thing to do? I mean, you could imagine if you want to do something. I heard stories that people said, well, I knew there is my light tower where I have to go to, and yes, on the way I may move, but I should never lose my target because I want to land over there. So, but what you're saying now is obviously even the lighthouse can change. Can change.
In my view, I think it can, because you don't know from the beginning if the lighthouse is in the right place. You have a good feeling about it, but you never know. It may change. You may find that you were wrong.
Yeah,
the lighthouse is not there, right? So and this is, I experienced this during my consulting years as well. The things that you target also change, and you have to pivot. You have to adjust. Even your target. Luckily, during that time, we met with someone in England, environmentalist, activist, very into cosmetics, and she was extremely educated, and we partnered with her. and we spent quite a bit time together in England, in Berlin, in Istanbul, and she helped us to change our view on certain things, especially in cosmetics. So there was a big influence of her on our business, and throughout the years, with her feedback and with the partnership with her, we changed the aspect of having a only male company to become a unisex company where we make unisex products, and then the rest of the things came slowly by learning. So again, I think learning is the key here. I was an experienced learner, I should say, experienced fast learner. So as a consultant, we always had to learn quickly and adapt quickly and then help them. Typically when I went as a consultant to a business, first I learned their business, learn good enough, and then be, so that I can help them going forward. Yep. So this is a trick, you have to be good at learning. And so this is what we have done. We learned very quickly.
You will not wake up one morning, you have the ideal idea, and just go forward, and you will succeed. But it is a journey of learning. And another word you said earlier is about sharing as well.
Sharing, yeah. You can only learn if somebody is sharing it with you, right? Either you can learn by reading, or by experience, or if somebody is sharing it with you, or you share with somebody else. So from the beginning, one lesson that I learned, as a consultant, we had to share knowledge with each other to be able to succeed on a project, right? So that was actually, I guess, in me, that I was always looking for what to share with somebody. When you have an idea, it can be a great idea, but the value of that idea is very small at the beginning unless you share that and you execute on it. Because you probably have thousands of ideas as you are sitting with me. You have professional ideas, you probably have personal ideas, what you want to do in your life, but unless you execute on them and then really do something about it, that idea is just a dream. It's not happening. So, and for anyone to succeed on that idea is that you have to start talking about it and share that idea and see how people feels about it, and don't be afraid of getting a negative critics, right?
And if you think about, let's say, nations, because you have been working in the States, you have been working in Turkey, you are coming from Turkey yourself. Now you're in Germany, and I guess during your work as a consultant, you have been in other countries too. Is there could you say that there are nations or typical kind of people that are more easy to share knowledge with yourself, or would you say other nations which are a little bit shy and holding back?
Yeah, in my experience, the US, UK, Australia, I guess the Anglo-Saxon countries are much more open to sharing, and because they know that they can benefit out of it, and that's why you see there are more entrepreneurs coming out from those countries, successful business coming out from those countries than probably the rest of the world. In Europe, Europeans tends to be a little bit more conservative. They do not want to share, and they do not want to talk about their ideas that much. It's very secretive, and I think it is not good, because basically, if you don't really talk about what you like to do, you may not see the pitfalls in front of you, because people will not tell you and warn you about it. Yep. So, but if you share it and then discuss your ideas with people comfortably, you may find out earlier on that you should probably make some changes.
Yeah, I know, and I believe that one of the jobs that you have to do as manager is what do I have to do to get ideas from the people that I'm responsible for.
Exactly.
Because if you take their ideas and make them big, you get even more ideas, and that makes you even more successful, because let's say the CEO of big companies is not the only one who can create ideas. Yes. It is always, you need to use the intelligence of of
other
the entire
people.
company. Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I think the successful CEOs always has great people around them that they collaboratively come up with ideas, and he actually looks for other ideas. If he wants to really succeed, he listens to people and see what ideas they have. If he doesn't listen to people and then it is only his way, other highway, then that's not the right way to manage the company.
While being on your journey to find out how the concept should look finally, I guess that your wife was playing a very important role because she is a designer and she's your partner. How did you bring her into the business?
Well, yes. I mean, definitely. My wife was quite important in the success of the starting of the operations. Originally, I didn't have my wife with me. I started solo with the investors and that I mentioned earlier on. I was missing that one element, that I needed somebody to really share this journey with me. And usually when you are working for a big corporation, you share that journey with a lot of people, and you don't realize how important it is that you having somebody that you can talk to easily and in a trusted way. And I was missing that. My wife had obviously, as I mentioned before, she is a fashion designer.
Now we are in Berlin, obviously. You haven't mentioned Germany so far. How did it come
to Germany?
To Germany,
yeah. And ironically enough, that I don't speak German. As you can tell right now, I mean, obviously, since we are speaking in English, and I'm going to give you some reasons that why we selected Germany, not England, not US, and none of the English-speaking countries or the Turkish-speaking countries, right? Idea was finalized, right? So we said we want to make a change. We want to make a difference in the cosmetics industry and the skincare industry, inside and out, and we're gonna try to make. We're gonna make 100% natural products, which is very difficult to make, and then eventually we're gonna find customers who are gonna be paying a little bit more premium for those products. Only a few countries in the world right now really focusing on the environmental elements of this businesses, and Germany is one of them. The German consumers are very aware. They really pay attention to this, and they are ready to pay premium to not high end only, but the good quality products with the natural ingredients that are also good for the environment.
And Berlin is very international city.
Yes, and the reason we picked Berlin, basically, Berlin is a metropolitan city. It's a cosmopolitan city at the same time. And it's one of the brand cities around the world, right? Berlin has a more branded name than the rest of the cities in Germany, right? It's very popular from historical point of view, and a lot of tourists comes over here. So that was another reason we selected Berlin.
It is very hip.
It's
to
very
be here,
hip.
to go to Berlin.
They are open to new ideas.
Exactly.
So that is one of the other reasons that we selected Berlin. The only biggest challenge that we had is the pandemic, basically, overall this time, right? That was the...
Yeah, but you decided, or you had to, I don't know, you opened the store...
Under the shadow of the pandemic.
Exactly, at the very beginning.
I had to. So that is the misfortune of ours, because when we spent all that time and energy to build the concept, build the formulations, build the whole thing between 2017 to 2019, 2016 to 2019, and then when we rented the store, we find the store in Berlin end of the 2019. We started construction, and we said we have a launch date in March of 2020. And guess what? What else launched at that time? I guess our
16th of March.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like somebody had different ideas about our opening, and then we were only open for a couple of days, and then we were shut down after that, and then we struggled throughout the 2 years, because at the end, yes, our concept is different, but at the end we are a retail store, right? So we pretty much took our share of the bad economy and bad of everything that hit during the pandemic. The pandemic is not over; it's still going on. I'm sure it's gonna still impact us going forward. But having a store like this, this is a unique concept. As when we walked around, you saw it. I mean, we are one of a kind in Europe right now, and actually in the world as well. That where we make the production. And sales in the same spot, like an open kitchen restaurant, right?
Yeah, maybe now coming to the store, again, don't forget that we have listeners.
Yes, yeah.
So if you take the listeners a little bit from outside into the store, what they see, and as well the production behind it, you give a little.
So, as I mentioned before, I mean, we wanted to make sure that our customer journey is different, and it also helps people to find what they are looking for in the most convenient way. And also transparency was another element that I mentioned before. So thinking about all those aspects, we came up with the idea, the customer journey, in a way that when people walks in, they only see a typical cosmetic store. It looks like a cosmetic. When you come in, it's a beautiful, with a lot of plants and a lot of natural products or the furnitures. It's it's nicely furnished cosmetic store from the first look. But then when they see the windows, these big large windows behind the counters and behind the shelves, they get curious. I said, what's going on here? And then they see this whole machineries and the people working in there. They see that something else is happening here. So they are making something. It's like an open kitchen restaurant. They are cooking or they are brewing something. It's like if you are brewing a beer or something, right? And they are interested. They start looking at the windows. They say, what's going on? They always question you. Okay, what are you? How is this working out? And we explain them. Okay, we make everything here. Everything that we sell is made by us. We don't buy it from outside. So every single product is produced in this kitchen. We call them as a beauty kitchen. And then also we have, as you know, we have food supplements that are related to beauty as well. And we also make them over here. Everything that we produce, we want to make sure that they are done by us carefully. And I guess you can say with love, with passion. And we basically, in a just-in-time model, every time store is running out of our inventory, we make them and we put them out in the window. From the windows, we put them out onto the shelves again. So when the people come in, they see that, okay, then you make the production here. They are very impressed by this. And then we also tell them, you know what, not only we make these products here, we can customize the product for you. So we can do a skin analysis, identify your skin problems and concerns with the experts, and then recommend you products that are tailored to you. Either you can buy it still ready-made products, or we can make it in 45 minutes. Not even 45 minutes. Nowadays we are making it in 30 minutes. Either you sit down and enjoy in our bar. We have a bar here as a co-concept. And as a matter of fact, we should probably mention to the new retail entrepreneurs, co-concept is important. When you are opening up a fashion store or when you're opening up a bookstore, try to add a co-concept. That is.
What do you mean with co-concept?
Co-concept meaning that, okay, you have a fashion store, maybe you may have a little bar over there that is selling coffee or something that is people for order, or you may have a library there that people can be sitting and reading. So it's not always the one idea that can be extended with other ideas. So that influences people, and that actually creates a good energy and the synergy as well. So I think that is important for new concepts of the retail businesses to think about the co-concepts all the time. We have a bar here where we do the smoothies, and then we also make teas that are using our own products. As I mentioned, we have supplements that are designed as almost like a cold pressed juices that you can mix it and drink it. And we are actually demonstrating and selling it to there. They can sit in our bar, enjoy it, and while we can introduce our products to them. At the same time, with the skin analysis and with the custom-made products, they can spend half an hour easily here, or they can walk around and come back and pick up their ready-made, their custom-made serum or the cream that is tailored towards their problems, their skin. And the feedback that we receive for this service is 100%. Everybody is happy about it, and our customers are very happy about getting very focused products to their problems. And this made-to-order services has been very well taken in Berlin.
I can imagine, because these are all products that you put on your skin.
Yes.
It can't come closer to you.
Yeah.
Well, you could eat, but skin is very sensible and different.
It's an
for
organ.
everyone.
It's a big organ. It's the largest organ as far as I know, and
It is.
and you should not treat that any different than any other organs you have, right?
What kind of products, if you name a couple of them, are you having? So I see here face, you have something for bath and body, you have hygiene, you have some cosmetics. What else?
So we have two different lines here. One of them are the topical lines, where we are using topical creams and topical anything that can you put on your skin is a topical product. It's a topical lines, and then the ingestible lines, where you can actually eat or drink, right? And as far as we are concerned, cosmetic is a holistic thing, right? You have to, just because you put some good products on your skin doesn't change much. You have to also watch out for what you eat and what you drink, right? It's inside out. So you have to take care of it from inside first and then worry about the outside.
If you watch women when they try cosmetic products first, it's always they smell, you know? Although I know that the smell does not give an indication if it is good or not, but still it is, they try to smell and believe that, do I like the smell? Yes, no, because it comes on my skin. What are you using concerning the smell?
Okay, again, it's all essential oils and 100%. So, and this is the one of the reason that our products doesn't smell as strong as the comparison to some other products in the market. You know, when the product is strongly smelling, that means that there are some synthetic perfumes in there, right? The service matters for us a lot, because the one other element in Germany that I can strongly suggest the German entrepreneurs and retailers to look for the customer service element, because it is not as strong as some other countries. You know, especially in US and UK, the customer service is, they always go with this saying that customer is always right? In Germany, I don't know if that is really going that direction. I know sometimes, you go to some businesses and customer is not always right. They argue with you and they hassle with you. And it is, I came with the mentality of, customer is always right, because at the end, if the customer goes out and tells one person that is 5%, 7%, the bad wording always goes out very fast, and so you want
faster than the good one.
Good wording goes out very slowly, but when bad wording, so you want to make sure that every single person is happy with your service.
Someone who's working in the sales area must have a very close contact to your beauty kitchen.
Yes.
Because there is only a glass wall and there is an open door.
Yes.
So you can share, you can talk, and the one who is producing can tell the salesperson, look, this is what I'm doing in the moment and has this and this positive effect. So this is automatically they are learning more than as if they buy ready-made products from a brand.
Exactly. Exactly, because our salespeople are by default they are learning a lot, because they have to, since we are in the back, when the customer asks question, right? If the salesperson doesn't know the answer, we know the answer for sure. Yeah. What ingredients we are putting, what those ingredients does for you. Typically, you don't get this kind of a service from any other store, because they don't know. They don't know every single ingredient. But we are making them here, so we can tell them, okay, if you buy this product, this ingredient will do this, and we are putting these ingredients in there with this kind of percentages. They actually, interestingly, sometimes we get very scientific questions, and we are able to answer them, which normally in the typical store you don't get an answer for this. They say, let me call somebody to get an answer, but over here we can get you an answer.
did you take out products? Or did you add products that people were asking for? Or
Yeah, we're continuously monitoring this because it is an interesting part of our business model as well. It's not that difficult for us to bring out a new product to the market, because when we hear people talking and asking for it, we just analyze it. If we keep getting that demand, for example, now we are talking about coming up with the new hand creams, and then also deodorants, the natural deodorants, because people have been asking for it. And unlike the bigger brands, the bigger companies, it is much easier for us to, in a time-wise as well, to produce them and formulate them and produce them and bring it to the market, because the market is here where you are sitting, right? So it's a self-sufficient store, and we basically hear it and make it basically afterwards, if that makes sense to us.
Yeah, and picking up your comments earlier about the lighthouse, where you said, well, you always have to navigate and adapt where necessary.
And this business model allows me. Right now, if I didn't have this kind of a model, if I was depending on other manufacturers and other organizations, that navigation is not going to be that easy. There is always this minimum order quantities out there that you have to deal with, right? And then there are all these requirements that you have to meet. But when we are independent and you are doing things on your own, yes, it has a lot of risks and it requires a lot of passion. But once you've done it, it pays off.
In this digital world, you're going a little bit backwards into
old
handcrafted
days.
and old days.
Old days.
Okay.
So you nailed it. Actually, that's how it is. So we modernized the old ways of doing the stuff. So old ways were, great in one aspect. They were obviously very sustainable at that time, right? But hygienically, they weren't there. They were missing certain elements. So what we have done, we have combined that both, right?
After 2 years now, do you think the foundation is big enough to say, well, there will come the day or the time when we open more stores?
Yeah, originally, obviously, our intention was to open up more stores. It was our intentions from the beginning, and we still want that. We still want to grow, and we still want to open up more stores. However, obviously, pandemic hit us quite heavily, and that's why we postponed those ideas. Now, I think we just started seeing the momentum, and the idea, the concept didn't get what it deserves yet from a business point of view. So probably in the next 2 years, we'll get to know where this is going.
And would you open the new stores under your control, or would you consider even doing a franchise?
Franchises is fine because, obviously it has to be controlled by us still as far as the quality-wise, right? We have to make sure that the quality is still there and they are doing the right things, because the cosmetic industry is very regulated, and it has a lot of aspects that you have to watch out for, that you have to do the things right.
Your journey started that you wanted to have a long beard. Now you have one, as I can see, and in a very special shape. And I hope that your products are working well with your beard as well.
It does. Actually, I do like my products with my skin and my beard, obviously. But again, that was an initial excuse for me to start find a reason, right?
Yeah, okay, Cenk, that was very interesting to hear your story about brewing beauty company, and I wish you good luck for the next 2 years to find out what the customers like most and bring you into the position for expansion.
Yes, that's what we are looking for, and thank you for the opportunity. This was a great conversation.
Yeah, thank you.
It was lovely.
I think we did quite well in English, or didn't we?
I don't know. We'll find out. I guess you'll tell me after that. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye.